Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Look who's back in the studio with me again today.
Tony Kornheiser. I show up every day.
Come again?
Except tomorrow.
Oh, okay. All right.
And Friday.
Friday. Okay, we're just checking. You know,
but yesterday and today,
back to back.
Not bad.
That make you eligible. Could you be postseason eligible in the NBA?
Absolutely.
Will that get you to 65?
I think so. I can get the MVP.
Yeah.
I think it's possible. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Shohei's struggles, Mike Tomlin's quarterback decision, and Joel Embiid's reluctance to play back-to-backs. But we begin today with the Yankees and Guardians heading to Cleveland after last night's win put the Yankees up 2-0 in this series. Aaron Judge finally arrived with a seventh-inning two-run homer, and the Yankees won comfortably, even though Garrett Cole only lasted into the fifth inning. Wilbon, does the outcome of this series now feel inevitable to you?
No. I'm too old for that. No. I know it's 84% of the time that the team taking the 2-0 lead wins. I get it. And that suggests inevitability, except if you've been sitting at and covered, and you and I have covered series in every team sport where somebody was down 2-0 and they came back and won. Sometimes 4 straight. Mm-hmm. And so, no, it doesn't feel inevitable. The last time Cleveland, speaking of Cleveland, was in a World Series, that city was up 3-1 and lost.
That's right.
So, no, It is not inevitable. Look, I mean, the Yankees, we thought, should be heavily favored anyway, particularly if Judge snapped out of this and joined Stanton and Soto. Mm-hmm. And now, if you have the three of them going, and the Cleveland's not going to beat them, but we don't know yet that all three of them are going to be going at the same time.
So here is a significant problem for Cleveland, and that is their starting pitchers are not lasting. In the first game in this series, Alex Cobb did not get out of the third inning, and last night, Tanner Bybee could not get out of the second inning. They had a chance to get to Garrett Cole, and they did not break through.
No.
Garrett Cole put 10 people on base in less than 5 full innings, and they only scored 2 runs. The moment for me last night, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned this because it's the greatest moment in the game. The moment for me last night is when the Cleveland manager in the second inning intentionally walked Soto to load the bases to pitch to Aaron Judge. This is Aaron Judge of 58 home runs and 144 RBI, and the Cleveland manager says, let's pitch to that guy. This is 24 hours after the Dodgers manager walked Frankie Lindor to load the bases to pitch to Mark Vientos, and boom, see you around grand slam. Now, I sort of kind of understand this because Judge had not had a good playoff.
Ice cold.
And he sort of kind of got away with it because it was a sacrifice fly.
Yeah.
But it made it 3-0. Mike, that was an onions moment on the part of the Cleveland manager.
What gets to me is when you've got bags loaded and you get a fielder's choice which scores 1 run and gets it to 3-2, but you can't push another run. You can't deliver a timely hit, and you got men on base with less than 2 out. You got to get somebody to deliver there if you're going to break through and win a game at Yankee Stadium and take this thing back 1-1 and sort of get control of the series, and they couldn't do it.
So I'm going to go back to the notion of, is this inevitable? And like you, I am unwilling to say that until we see Cleveland at home.
That's right.
I mean, I'm unwilling to say that. But it feels to me like the Yankees are a demonstrably better team, especially if Judge breaks
joins
out.
the party.
Now, Ramirez, he hit one out yesterday, and that was his first hit of the series, so it works both ways, but they do feel better to me, the Yankees.
They're better.
Yeah.
But you know what? You don't want Garrett Cole having to be lifted in the 5th.
No.
You need Garrett Cole to be a little bit better than that. Mm-hmm. Aaron Judge may have broken out. Now what about Shohei? Ohtani's been great with runners on base, but 0 for 19 with 10 strikeouts with bases empty as the Dodgers leadoff man this postseason. Manager Dave Roberts says he will not move Ohtani lower in the order for tonight's Game 3 against the Mets in New York. Tone, big reason, little reason, no reason at all for the Dodgers to be concerned about Shohei.
Let me be declarative here and neither stutter nor stammer. No, there's no reason.
Amen.
Okay. There's no reason to do anything with Aaron Judge, and there's no reason to do anything with Shohei Ohtani. And why? Because talent will out. It will show itself like last night. Aaron Judge had 3 RBI, so it shows itself. I understand the concern. When I watched Ohtani against Minaya, and he couldn't get the bat anywhere near the ball on the outside, I said, okay, that's a problem. But you look at tape and you correct that the next time. The important thing here is what you said about this is a guy, and he's in his first playoff series, so maybe he's nervous. but he had 54 home runs and 197 hits. All right? And when men are on base, he is delivering. He has a home run and 3 walks with men on base. If you move him down in the order, I understand the reasoning, but you're only guaranteeing 1 at bat where he's not leading off an inning.
Yeah.
That's all. What?
Yeah, I might move him down in the order just to take advantage of his prodigious nature with men on base. There was a stretch not too long ago, and I don't know how far this lasted into the postseason, where Ohtani was, and this is the most amazing thing to me. This is
batting over 500 for a while.
How about this? 14 for 19. That's insane. Yeah. That's a little league baseball number. So leave him alone. Yeah, do with him what he wants to do. Where in the order you bring him in, you have a talk, and he says, Skip, I'd like you to do this. And you shut up and do that. It's baseball. You go 3 for 10, you go into the Hall of Fame. So let's not get silly and overstate everything, which is what happens is, you know what? The overstatement and the coverage of sports today is ruining sports for me. It's ruining it. Because people are so stupid, they can't just restrain themselves and understand the nature of sport.
There are other players on the Dodgers who are hitting worse.
Yes.
Mookie Betts right now is 5 for 26, batting 192.
Struggling.
Will Smith is batting 087. He's 2 for 23. And you consider Ted Williams the greatest hitter of all time, right?
Have to.
Ted Williams, 7 playoff games in his life, not many, 7. Batted 200, had 5 hits, all singles. This is Ted Williams we're talking about. So you have to give Ohtani a little bit more time here.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't.
It's a postseason.
You know.
He's going against, even today, there's no Gibson and Drysdale and McClain and Lolich out there. No. But he's going against some really good bullpens. He's going to get good situational pitching. Stop.
I think he's due.
The overstatement.
I think they're all due.
You know what's going to happen tonight?
We'll see what happens.
3 for 4, 3 for 5.
Let's move to football and the quarterback question in Pittsburgh. The Steelers are 4-2, and Justin Fields has been the quarterback in all of those games. Russell Wilson has not taken a snap because he's had a calf injury. Now Wilson is healthy, and Mike Tomlin plans to work Wilson with the first team intermittently. Wilbon, would you understand it if Tomlin chose to start Wilson over Fields?
I'm being made to understand it. Instinctively, I don't understand it. But I'm a Fields guy, and I'll admit my bias. But we had Jeff Saturday on yesterday, and he said, wait a minute, you got to remember there's practice every day.
Yeah.
And players know what they see in practice. You and I have covered enough football in our lives where we got to know, and often linemen who would come over at the end of practice and say, hey, listen up.
Yeah, all the time.
And when they said, listen up, what did we do?
No, it's like,
we understood that what they just went through at practice was telling.
You know this story that I'm not sharing with everybody with the names involved, but a couple of linemen came over to me and he said he can't play. I said, what do you mean he can't play? Can't play like right end? No, can't play in the league.
Can't play.
They know.
They know, and they're telling you what they see in real time. And real quickly, with Fields, I said last year, the reason why I didn't want to get rid of Fields as a Bears guy is that I was hoping that better coaching would help Fields get to a point in which we wouldn't be having this discussion. He's got that now in Pittsburgh. So he's got that with Arthur Smith and that staff and Mike Tomlin. And they're still seeing things that he's not overcoming.
Your prejudice here makes me very happy because, as you've said sat on the show and you've said many times that you love Justin Fields and you think he could be a terrific quarterback, and he was being hurt by bad coaching in Pittsburgh.
Yep. In Chicago.
Chicago, rather. So now Mike Tomlin is there.
Yep.
And you are never going to say a bad word about Mike Tomlin because it's not a bad word to be said.
Or his offensive coordinator who plays to Fields' strengths repeatedly.
That's right. So if Mike Tomlin chooses Wilson over Fields, you got to eat it. You got to eat it. And Wilson,
the fact that it's gotten this close already, that Tomlin's considering it and has him out there in practice getting first team reps.
When Tomlin signed him, when he signed Wilson, he called him QB1.
Yep.
Okay?
Pole position.
He is the longest tenured coach in the league. At Pittsburgh, this is now, I believe, his 18th season. He's won a Super Bowl. He's never had a losing season. No. So he has an unassailable record. So if he makes this choice,
you got to live with it.
I think so. Now, what's interesting to me is Pittsburgh is at home on, I believe, Sunday night against the Jets, the Super Bowl Jets of Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. And even though Pittsburgh is 4-2 and the Jets are 2-4, somehow on the road the Jets are favored by 1.5. I do not bet, but if I bet, I would always bet with Mike Tomlin at home as an underdog. I would always bet with that.
You know, the other part about this that I'm still trying to get my arms around is Justin Fields' personality seems to fit what it is that these Steelers are. He ran for 2 touchdowns last week.
He's got 5 running touchdowns and 5 passing.
The position is not called
They're a
passer.
tough team. No.
It's called quarterback.
That's right.
But yet I'm forced to deal with.
You know that I don't think Russell Wilson is anywhere near what he was. And I do like Justin Fields.
Yeah.
But who am I giving the benefit of the doubt to? To Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin and his staff.
There's no question.
Mike Tomlin and his
Let's take a break. Coming up, what's the word for your boy Joel Embiid saying he's unlikely to play in any more back-to-backs?
Yeah, that's the word. How best to describe last night's rare goalie goal in the National Hockey League?
You'll be watching the Mets and Dodgers tonight? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dodgers.
But it's one Chicago
Jared's
night.
got to see.
It's one Chicago.
I'm just saying, Jared's at
fire
3 and 4.
Pardon the interruption.
It's time to get it on with Lexicon. What's first?
It's blank that Joel Embiid says, quote, "If I had to guess, I would probably never play back-to-backs the rest of my career," unquote.
It's predictive. Well, if he had to guess, what is this, Final Jeopardy? What is he talking about? If he had to guess, Joel Embiid is very clearly saying, I don't want to play in any back-to-backs. So let's look at the schedule for Philadelphia. How many back-to-backs do they have this season? They have 15. So sit him out in these 15 because you know what? He averages 54 games a year that he's played in, which means 28 he doesn't play in. If you can trade those 15 for those 28, that is a big win for Philadelphia.
I agree with you.
You don't play back-to-back in the playoffs,
No.
So just do this.
Tony, I'm not going to disagree with you there. My word's going to be a little bit different. It's protective, and it is. Look, Embiid has won an MVP. So the notion of playing 65 games to get to the required number of games, forget about that. There's one thing left. I've talked to Joel Embiid about this. He wants to win a championship.
Sure.
And in order to do
How about getting to a conference final?
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to do that first.
Yeah.
But my point is, I believe him when he says this is what he plays for now. I believe him. And another guy you like to make fun of, who I like a lot, Paul George. These guys want to win. To do that, they may have to protect themselves, or the team may have to.
That's fair.
And I'm okay with that.
That's fair.
So if Joel Embiid can get to the playoffs healthy, which he hasn't really done, he gets hurt early in the playoffs. He goes into the playoffs hurt. If he can get around that, they got a chance in Philly with him and Paul George. So it's protected. That's what they're doing.
That's fine.
So the back end of those, don't do it.
But when
Pick which game.
When he says, if I had to guess,
you don't have to
look,
guess. Suppose they got the Knicks and Celtics back-to-back at home. He's going to want to do that one. So you gotta look at the schedule 3 years out. You can't know that.
Look to the playoffs.
Agree. We agree there.
We agree there.
We agree.
What's next?
Wild goalie Philip Gustafson's goal last night was blank.
It was wild. Goalie goals never happen. This is the rarest thing in the sport. This is the first one ever for Minnesota. I had a statistic given to me today. There's only 15 goalies who have ever scored. In the history of hockey, there's only 15.
Crazy.
So here's what's going on. Minnesota is up 3-1.
2 goals.
St. Louis has pulled its goalie. They're trying to pepper the cage and see if they can get a couple of goals. Gustafson makes a save. He looks in front of him. There's open ice, so he sends it down. It's got to go, Mike, 175 feet into an open net. So it's essentially a trick shot. What it's like is those three-quarter shots at a basketball game at halftime where a kid wins $1,000 if he makes it. Yeah. But this one goes in. The crowd goes wild. The wild goes wild. It's a lovely moment.
It is, Tony, and we mentioned the 2-goal lead, which is essential to understand, because if it's a 1-goal lead, you're not going to want to risk an icing call, face-off brought back in front of you where the game can be tied.
You're right.
But with a 2-goal lead, you take the chance. But if you go back and you look at the form he displays, it's form perfect.
That is.
I mean, it looks like when you see a golfer and you know that person's got a perfect swing, and they come around and the high finish and the right foot for a right-handed golfer is the toe is touching only and the heel's off the ground. That's the form you see right there, which means he must practice it. These guys practice everything.
They must practice it. They're like Steph Curry practicing 75-foot shots.
I was going to say Steph hits 3/4 all the time.
Yeah, so yeah.
In his sleep.
Yeah, well, that's why they wouldn't put him out there at halftime for $1,000.
No, you can't underwrite that.
He would make it. That's right. It's a final word. Let's take one last break. Still to come, Team USA struggles against Mexico in Mauricio Pochettino's, I hope I get that right, second game.
And the Liberty and Lynx, they're back on the court tonight. Game 3, finals.
I'm going to be watching the baseball.
I'm going to watch this.
You're not going to watch the baseball?
Yeah, I got
October baseball?
multiple TVs. You know I'm going to watch everything.
Oh, that's right. I only have
What's on the third TV?
I don't know.
Perry Mason?
Perry Mason. Got to try that twisted tea at some point. Happy time, people. Happy 50th birthday, Paul Correa. The Hall of Fame left winger played 15 seasons in the NHL, his most productive years with the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. In 9 seasons there, Correa scored 300 goals. In all, Correa had 402 goals and 587 career assists. Correa played in 7 All-Star games. He was a top 10 goal scorer 4 different times. Correa played for the Stanley Cup once, in 2003, losing to the New Jersey Devils in 7 games. Correa had 1 goal in that series against the great Martin Brodeur. Correa also played with St. Louis, Nashville, and Colorado.
If the NHL had cleaned up its act 10 years earlier and gotten rid of the thuggery just a half generation earlier, Correa would have played 5 more years and scored 250 more goals and been recognized as one of the truly great talents of all time, because that's what he was like to watch. And sadly, the injuries, the concussions, they reduced him, and the league should feel bad about that, man, because he was brilliant.
Happy anniversary, Aaron Boone. On this day 21 years ago, Aaron Bleepin' Boone took Tim Wakefield deep to left, and the Yankees walked off the Red Sox in the bottom of the 11th to win the ALCS and go to the World Series. That was Boone's only trip to the World Series as a player, and the Yankees lost to Florida. Boone became the Yankees manager in 2018 and led them to back-to-back 100-win seasons and 5 straight playoff berths, but never to the World Series. If you think spending doesn't matter, consider the top 3 opening day payrolls this season. The Mets, Yankees, and Dodgers all are still alive for the World Series. Cleveland, by the way, had the 28th highest payroll on opening day.
You don't notice how I never root against the Yankees.
Why?
By 95. Aaron Boone, my former neighbor,
oh, is that right?
An all-around great guy in North Scottsdale, Arizona, before he went to take that job.
Do you call him Booney like everybody else does?
Aaron was...
Have you played golf with him?
Maybe years ago. I don't even remember it.
Really?
Come back to North Scott. No, you can't come back.
Happy trails for last night's friendly in Mexico for the U.S. men's soccer team. New coach Mauricio Pochettino brought his team down to Guadalajara to face a Mexican team that the U.S. had not lost to since 2019 and promptly lost 2-0.
Yeah.
Mexico dominated the friendly with the U.S. not even registering its first official shot on goal until the 78th minute. Pochettino reminded reporters after the game that his team has only been together for 10 days and some key players could not make the trip. The team's next match is in a month against Jamaica.
No Pulisic, no McKinney. I know Pulisic's on the way back to Italy. I mean, this week...
Well, you got jobs.
But you got to go back to your club.
That's right.
All right.
You got a real job.
We're going to acknowledge somebody
Go ahead,
now.
take your time.
People need to... This jersey is going to be retired, finally, by the Washington football franchise. Belongs to Darryl Green. Get on Google. Go find him. You think people are shut down corners now? Tony and I knew a shutdown corner. Hall of Famer, 2-time Super Bowl champ, all-around great player who at now 60-some years old can probably, I'm going to go 4.6. He can run a 4.6 40 tonight.
And he's only about 5'9 or 5'10, right? I mean, he's
better
not a
than Darryl
big guy. And he also returned kicks and returned punts when Washington needed.
Returned one against my Bears. I don't want to forgive him for that.
I mean, he's a great
DMV,
player.
lucky to have him.
Great player. You ready to go to the big finish?
Let's do it.
Here we go. Dion, your boy, says he expects Travis Hunter to play against Arizona on Saturday. Your thoughts?
I don't want to see him be hurt, but I want to see him. There's nobody better to watch than Travis Hunter in college football today. Not to me.
What about the kid at
he's running back out of Boise?
Genty.
Yeah,
what about him?
Both sides.
Okay.
Alex Ovechkin became just the 6th player in NHL history with 700 goals and 700 assists. That's significant, isn't it?
It is. But it is not as significant as what he's chasing now.
The goals alone.
He is chasing goals alone
Yeah.
to catch and pass Wayne Gretzky. I think he's going to do it, and I think he's going to do it this year.
Gretzky, Howe, Yager, Dion, and
700 and
Phil
700.
Esposito.
That's very, very good.
That's a list.
Lionel Messi had a hat trick plus 2 assists in a win over Bolivia last night. You got to be impressed with that.
Yeah, and that's not a friendly. And he says he knows these could be among his final games. He's too good to go away, right? Huh? The Oilers got their first win last night. They were down 2-0 in that game. I watched early. It's a big deal that they won.
Well, it's a big deal for the coach because last year around this time they couldn't win either, and they fired that coach.
Yeah.
And they brought in this coach.
You don't want to have that happen.
He does not want
back.
history to repeat itself.
No.
Does not want that. Last one, WNBA Finals Game 3 tonight. Who you got?
You know, as this series moves to Minnesota, I'm going to go with the Lynx. I'm not rooting against the Liberty. I'm not. As this series moves to Minnesota, I'm going to go with the Lynx. I'm not rooting against the Liberty. I'm not.
Sure.
I'm just saying I think Minnesota's going to hold serve at home tonight.
We're out of time. We will try and do better the next time. We stretched great on that. I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. You can get the PTI podcast on the ESPN app or Apple Podcast. People don't know what the stretch is. It used to be from the stretch.
And then shake it down like El Tiante.
Like El Tiante.
El Tiante.
And now, your sports.
Yeah, we had about 40 seconds we had to fill.
PTI.
All right, Wilbon. What do you think of Mike Tomlin possibly benching Justin Fields for Russell Wilson?
Tony, my own personal inclination is to say this is not going to happen. They're 4-2. Mm-hmm. Justin Fields has demonstrated he can be better and has been better. We had Jeff Saturday on the show yesterday, and he said, remember, things happen at practice every day that coaches and players see. And I'm sitting there with this jersey. It reminds me of back in our youth when Darryl Green was on the Washington team, and we might see him after practice, and he'd say, hey, don't just come to conclusions. Things happen at practice every day. Jeff Saturday said that to us yesterday. So now I'm less surprised. It just seems like it's going to happen at least for a while, don't you think? I mean, this is Mike Tomlin. This is not some dude.
When Mike Tomlin signed Russell Wilson, he called him QB1 at that point.
He said he had the pole position.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's important. Yeah. And I think Mike Tomlin, the name Mike Tomlin is important as Andy Reid would be important and John Harbaugh would be important. Mike Tomlin is the longest tenured coach at the same team right now in the NFL. I think this is his 18th season in Pittsburgh. In those 18 seasons, he has won 1 Super Bowl. He has been to 2. He has never, let me repeat, never had a losing record. No. He has an unassailable record. So if he's looking at this and he makes this decision, he gets the benefit of the doubt. Yeah, I am very interested. Obviously, Sunday night, the Steelers are at home with a 4-2 record against the Jets, the Super Bowl Jets of Davante Adams and Aaron Rodgers, who have a 2-4 record. And somehow, the Jets are favored in this game by 1.5 points. And I would always take Mike Tomlin and points at home. I would always
Jets favorite. And you want to know why I just get tired of I-95? Really? Really? You want to know why? That's why.
The I-95 has nothing to do with Vegas.
Where the Jets located?
Yeah,
Close
but
enough?
there's nothing to do with Las Vegas. Let me know the next time the Giants are favored, if you want to go I-95.
Jets.
Or the Patriots are favored, if you want to go
Let's
I-95.
talk about the Jets for another 20 minutes.
Not on it.
That's it. We're done with the Jets. Don't even mention the Cowboys. Back to you.